Hello everyone, Krydax here, and welcome back to pYanodon's Season 3! We made niobium, and it feels so good. Look at those little guys. Those little silver plates. Love it. Alright, so we gotta load those into a train somewhere, and I don't know exactly when we're gonna use them, but sometime soon. Is this a provider? Yeah, we already set that up. That's already set up. That's already set up. So we should just need a belt down and loader in, and I think that's it. I believe that works. So, what else do we need to do? I don't really know. I think this is fine. We dealt with all the trash stuff. We're dealing with excess sodium hydroxide, you know? But we're kind of not. Really, the sodium hydroxide should be going on a train. But wait, how does this work? So zinc activated carbon is always using sodium hydroxide, which then is using HCl. But the problem is I might be getting that HCl from somewhere else. Right now, I don't have that set up properly. So I guess there's no point to change all of this around right now. But at some point, I should be requesting the HCl from the network for the activated carbon, rather than making it right here, because we get HCl as an output from other things, right? There's so many things that produce HCl, and it's a byproduct in a lot of cases. So because HCl is a byproduct, it's going to be all over the place. We're going to throw it back into the train network, and it'll get delivered to places that need it, and eventually we might have a place that just dumps excess HCl. But yeah, we do need everything made from niobium. So I guess the next step is to bring niobium to the mall and make logistics bots? I already researched that, right? Yeah, we already have... No, we don't. Wait, where are the little dudes? Oh, they're in this one. There they are. Okay, and they only... Oh, they need nichrome too? Nichrome. My not beloved. So nichrome is expensive AF. You're reading that correctly. It's 18 plates per plate. So a nichrome is a lot. A lot of metal. And we need 2 per sausage, as someone called them. Little sausages. They do look a little bit like sausages. But that's fine. Oh, they have maximum operational time in reach now. I forgot about that. I'm curious what the other ones are. Twice the distance tier 2 can get. Tier 3 doubled again, and tier 4 not quite doubled again. That's a lot of charging still. I feel like that for being a tier 4 bot, it can't go that far without charging. But yeah, 300 meters only. I mean, my blocks are 200 across, so that's almost a full charge just to get across a block. Okay, now here's a question that I don't remember the answer to. Can bots charge at a roboport that is not part of their own network? Like, if I were to place a roboport here, can bots charge at it? I know they wouldn't be able to access the buildings inside, you know, logistics-wise, but if they're like flying right over it and they're like, hey, I need a charge, will they see this RoboPort as one to go to, or will they only look at ones from the network they're attached to? You'd think I'd know the answer to that, but I actually don't know what it would do. I don't know what it would do. Okay, so we need niobium in this sushi loop, is what I'm thinking. And you might be thinking, oh, just put it on a train, deliver it over here, bus it over here, we're good to go. Or we could use a caravan. Because this isn't really a train mall anyway. I don't really know if I want train inputs to be supported over here. So should I just use a caravan to bring the niobium? How long do I plan on this sushi area lasting? That's another good question. Honestly, potentially forever. I could see connecting a bunch of train inputs to it once we no longer have... Because a lot of the inputs to it are based on this, which I don't... Like, I built this to last. Built to last. Because these metal inputs are gonna... We're just gonna upgrade the metal stuff where it already is. Now, at some point I might need to add stations up here and change the belting of the metals, because they're kind of doing a weird like U-bend here, and that's not really necessary, but at the same time it's a good system, and I don't think I'm gonna undo this anytime soon. And it makes sense for the mall to be where all the metals are accessible. So yeah, I guess you've convinced me to train it over. All right, our first niobium request is gonna be right here. And then we need a basic request station. And then we need to merge. And then we need to request niobium plots. And then we don't want the bulk. And, you know, I'm actually thinking I want to not have that be there. Because I'm going to accidentally forget that, and then I'm going to change this number, and then it's going to change the bulk request for every bulk requester on the whole map. That feels like something I don't want to do on accident. So instead, I should probably undo that. We'll just do 10 stacks. With a 9... we'll have a 10 stack threshold even, and that should be fine. But yeah, I want to change the basic requester station to not be on BR20. I can type BR20 if I need 20. I'm a grown up. All right, basic requests change to you. That should fix that problem. And then niobium coming in on this belt. This is a fat bus. Good gravy. Oh, I forgot that belt, apparently. And then out. I'm definitely gonna do one lane. There'll be something else I'll need on the other lane. Niobium. Nice work, bots. Girl, you got a fat bus. Yeah, I think it's a term of endearment. Anyway, niobium's gonna come up and get loaded onto... Not sure which side of the belt. Because all these freaking... the utility box debacle of episode 47 or whatever it was. There's just so many utility boxes. So that being said, I do think that top side is the less crowded lane. So we will do another one of these. I guess that's not connected to logistics, so I can do that. And I do want to preemptively filter niobium for when we add a second thing onto this belt. And then that one's gonna be based on niobium plate. And I'll do 15, maybe. I thought you said pi bus is a bad idea. Yeah, so the pi bus idea is a bad idea if your goal is to put everything on the bus. If your goal is only to put metals on the bus, that's different. Having some amount of bus is not, I don't think I've ever said is a bad idea entirely. It's more just that, like, if your goal is to build your entire base with a main bus, I think that's a bad idea. You can see here, I do not have a main bus, but I do have metals on a bus. Yes, there are too many utility boxes. It's because there was an issue with my brain where I never set the limit on this. So we ended up with 184 of them instead of just 10 of them. And they're not getting used up very quickly because they only go into the mechanical parts, and I'm not making those all that often. So it's gonna be a while before they all get used up. And at least for now it's fine. At some point I may have to manually take them off the belt, but I'm leaving them as a remembrance of my, not hubris, but just mistake, I guess. You know, in memoriam. Anyway, this should be, like, running now, right? Are we getting a niobium? Yep, niobium delivery. The first niobium delivery is being loaded as we speak. Here it is. Yes, yes, delicious. I guess we don't quite have enough niobium yet for that. No, we do. Never mind. Just takes a minute to load it. And then that'll get here, that'll go on there, and then we are good to go to make logistics bots. Almost. Sorry, I misspoke. There's still another thing we need. Nichrome. Freaking nichrome. And steam engines? Wait, these need steam engines too. Did we just put steam engines on the bus? Yeah, we did. Okay. But yeah, we'll start letting that fill up with stuff. We should have everything except the nichrome. Filter the bots so we don't get anything weird in there. Alright. Good to go, good to go. Alright, to make nichrome... this is a whole mess. Maybe I should put the alloys in their own block. Yeah, I kind of like that idea, actually. It doesn't look like I've done any of the alloys yet. So, alright, niobium needs to slide over to be with the other metals. And aluminum's not in the right place. I don't want antimony oxide to be more with the weird metals, like aluminum and tin and lead. Next lead definitely goes over to the right with these guys. Get slightly more organized here. Stone brick. You know what? I can just delete. That block is not necessary. All right, so yeah, we'll go with like the normal-ish metals, maybe somewhat organized. Yes, you can reorder the blocks. Hey, see you later, Mellow Inventor. Thanks for hanging out. All right, solder. I will move over. That's kind of like an alloy, but it's made differently, so I'm not gonna put it in the same one as like nichrome, iron niobium alloy, like those types of alloys that end up basically being plates. I'm gonna put in the same one. So anyway, I need a new block, and we're gonna move that over. And then that's gonna have nichrome as the first one. Which honestly is a really simple recipe. It's just expensive as heck. So I don't know if I need to make this on the trains yet. Because I have nickel. No, I don't have nickel. Where's my nickel? I had a nickel for every time I couldn't find my nickel. Wait, where is nickel? I mean, I'm making it. I have nickel ore right up here. Where's it going? It's with Nexalit, and then right here it just peters out of existence. Just fizzles. Apparently that whole belt fizzles. Well, we're gonna need all of that on the trains eventually, so I might as well connect that belt up to somewhere in this massive bus. Oh, zinc acetate. Reading those two words together makes me shudder. Nightmares. My memory tells me that those are nightmares. That I had forgotten until you said them. Alright, we're gonna go on this side. Zinc acetate, just for those wondering, is this stuff. And it looks nice. You're like, oh, it's just acetic acid. And then you're like, oh, acetic acid is chromium and methanol and carbon dioxide. And methanol is not as easy as it sounds either. There are some reasonable ways to make it, but it's never fun, almost no matter how you do it. And you need like a lot of zinc acetate for something. I don't remember what. Oh wait, what am I doing? That was where I had my walkway originally. Okay. I'll go here. Oh gosh. Our trains are getting in the way. Alright, well that's there, and at least for now, I think... So I have nickel right here. Do I have chromium? I don't have chromium over here. But this is where I'm making alloys. So... I think I'm gonna make it right here. What was it? High pressure furnace? That I needed? I think this is where we'll do nichrome for now. There it is. Is that a lot of nitrogen? Yes, that is a lot of nitrogen. Ugh, I'm gonna need another one of these blocks. Which I might just put down here and pipe up the... I just want to put it out of the way somewhere. Maybe I'll put it like right there. Alright, excuse me. Alright, we'll need to get that built. And then we need to bring over chromium, but we already have nickel right here. So, yes, thank you. So then we load in, I don't even know. 2 inserters is more than I'm making per second of nickel, so I don't even care if it's enough to support what the buildings want. And then chromium. It's gonna have to be on a new belt, which is gonna go just right here. And it'll just be like it doesn't even exist. Don't even see it. Until boom, chromium. A wild chromium appears. Alright, there's that. Hook up the nitro. And then we load in the chromium. Right here. And then here. Boom. 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 Power, power. Throw down a lamp. And baby, you got a stew going. There's nichrome. Alright, nichrome is incredibly expensive, so this belt buffering alone is gonna cost me my entire fortune of nickel and chromium. The good news is we're not really using chromium for anything else right now, so it kind of doesn't matter. But it's still gonna be very expensive. I guess we could just sideload the nichrome onto there, and then we can control nichrome loading like this. Nichrome, do 5. Seems reasonable. And then we just need to build a crap ton of DDCs, which I actually somehow had all the ingredients for. And then I kind of want this to be like a lot closer, like that. I'll figure something else out for these other connections, because this one is the oxygen connection and it needs to go here. But then we've got the nitrogen connection, which is now just disconnected. Could do something crazy like this. Okay. Oh, you're right. We did just finish energy distribution 2. So then I can set up big power poles. Alright, I need all sorts of crap here. Thankfully, we're right next to our mall this time. We can just grab a bunch more stuff. Mainly these pesky 1 to 2s. And then pipes. More belts. Probably need... Actually, no, I don't need small parts. Doing okay on all that stuff. Science pack production amounting to a teaspoon per hour. Yeah, that is unfortunately an accurate statement. Oh, that was satisfying to watch the bots fly out. Oh, 8 hours of research. It's because this one is an ultra expensive one. It's a 2000 multiplier. 2000 groupings, as I'm calling that, of science. And that's a 3-to-1 ratio. So I'm actually held back on Pi Science Pack 1 right now, because I automated logistic packs to 0.1 a second. So 6 a minute. I automated these to 6 a minute until I got hot air. for Glassworks, at which point I would have 9 a minute. So right now I'm getting 9 of these a minute and only 6 of these a minute, which means I'm only using 4.5 of these a minute because that's the limiter. And I should be getting 24 a minute of automation science packs. So though I did notice the flora patch is starting to run out, so that's possible that that's not actually making me 24 a minute. One science per sometime. Exactly. That is kind of how it works, isn't it? All right, now we've got this nitrogen, which is not even enough for how much I wanted of nichrome, but whatever. I don't even care right now. This is a non-zero amount of nichrome that we're going for, not a large amount. Okay, and then we need to bring it, yeah, pretty much just up along this. So we'll stick with the fish oil. And then in the corner. Boom! Nichrome! Boom, baby! Here, let me get a nice little shot of those. Oh, of course, now they're not running. There we go. Beautiful. Alright, nichrome is real. Hey, Jabba Flux! Welcome, welcome. You did catch the stream. I can almost do the pure nitrogen plus filters thing, yeah, but filters are expensive. Nitrogen's free. It's just DDCs and space and power. And it's not even that much power. DDCs are not... They're not that hungry. They're only 500 kilowatts a piece. So this whole thing is only 6 megawatts. I mean, maybe it's more like 7 because we're running like 1 pressure pump worth. I also don't need 4 pressure pumps. Hold on. Let me cut this down to 2. There's no reason to have 4. Because that's still more than I need to have 2 for that size of block. Okay, so if I'm not mistaken, I am mistaken. Oh, the belts are not. Problem solved. There we go. Problem solved. Now I'm not mistaken. As soon as we get our nichrome, we'll have our first logistics bot. Oh my gosh, that is exciting freaking news. Now I'm gonna craft a bunch of these guys because we're gonna need them, and I'm actually gonna start replacing because I know some people like to use storage chests for this, but I do not, so I will not. I will not, cannot in a car. I will not, cannot, going far. I do not eat green eggs and ham. Alright. Oh, I don't need long inserters. Never gonna touch those. Right, let me grab some more circuits, which I have in this box. Perfect. Get some requester chests going. Now this is making me wish I had just manually transported the nichrome, because then I could have just used logistics bots to move the small amount of nichrome that we're gonna need. There it is, there it is! First logistics pynobot, woohoo! This has been a monumental stream. What a perfect 100-hour stream. Imagine if I had been like 6 hours later in my playthrough, or like I was 6 hours slower. The things I was doing 3 hours ago were not all that interesting. I was just putting random things on the train network. But it's kind of fun that we got to do like actual exciting progress. Not that that's necessary, because the Zen Garden approach says we don't have to make exciting progress in every episode. But it is fun we got to do it on stream together. Oh, apparently I have trash that they're already taking away. Oh, I have a lot of trash. It's going to take them a long time to get rid of all that. Where are they even taking it, by the way? I'm curious. We're going to follow Tim and Jerry here. Sorry, Tom and Jerry is what I meant to say. Tim and Jerry. Tim and Jenny are the names I have for the construction bots that get stuck behind me when I'm going fast. But I'm calling these ones Tom and Jerry. Ah, they're going to the storage. Okay. I wonder if I stand like right on them. How long will this take? Look at it go. It's amazing. Just amazing. All right. So we're gonna need requester chests on the hotbar now. Oh, they're going for more charge. They almost finished the job. Go get some more juice and then come back. Gotta keep moving that biomass. I also want to note that the pYanobots are slightly better than they look because they have cargo capacity of 3. So it's super nice. They actually move 3 items at a time. And that makes them a bit more effective than they look at first. So really, with only 50 or 100 of them, you can already move a reasonable amount of cargo around. So the place that we're looking to use them is essentially wherever we have like really, really tiny requests per second. You know, I'm talking like 0.05 a second, where it's like, oh god, that's gonna last me, you know, if you think about per minute, it's like, what is that per minute? I can't do math. 3 a minute. That's only 3 a minute, right? And if you only need 3 a minute, then that's only 1 pynobot trip per minute. And even if it takes the pynobot a full 2 minutes to make the trip, you're only utilizing 2 pynobots to do that. So that's the sort of place where I will start using logistics bots. I'm not going to use them all over the place, but for really small amounts, I'm happy to use them. Oh, I guess I should grab a little bit more landfill for my personal supply. And then I'll put those there. We need another RoboPort up in this region, because now we might have requests for the different plates. Ugh, it's amazing. There's still a lot of things that aren't in the network, but I'll add them as needed. DNA stuff? Yeah, like DNA stuff could be a good example. That's another good example of when to use logistics bots, is when you don't have a consistent need. So like not needing cDNA very often is also a good reason. Also, JavaFlux, I will get your name in game, don't worry. I'm gonna wait until the episode's over. And then the caravan thing, what am I doing? The last caravan thing, you're dual loading from the steel belt and it's blocked. Where are we talking? I'm not seeing an issue with that steel. That's not powered. Are you talking about this one? Oh, you're so right. You're so right. I guess we just need that to be a loader, and then that solves our problem. Thank you for that. Man, that's the sort of stuff that'll break your base 13 hours from now, but then it'll be broken for 20 hours before you notice it. So that's rough stuff right there. I'm glad somebody caught that. I wonder how many mistakes there are like that throughout the base, just waiting for us to uncover them. Yeah, I should probably check the other belts. You're not wrong. Now, I want to point out, we could, at this point, now request things. I could request all I want, logistics-wise. But the problem is the bots are so slow right now that then we just have logistics bots flying all over the place, and I'm walking in and out of logistics zones because I haven't built... Here, there's a button for it. You can see, like, whenever I walk out of this orange area, then all the bots are going to fly back to wherever they were, and then you're going to end up with all sorts of items in storage containers that were being delivered to me. So I want to be really cautious on logistics deliveries as of now. Now that's not a bad option, Dan. The problem, though, is it would require everything I'm requesting to be in the same area, which over the course of time will not be the case. Right now, it's not a bad idea, but eventually we're going to be requesting things from here and over here and over here. And I just want faster bots and better coverage before I do that. Eventually, we'll have enough bots, we'll have enough coverage, and the bots will be faster. And maybe even with tier 1 bots, I'll allow it, because they'll catch up to me eventually. Mainly, it's just that I want better coverage, so that I'm not constantly walking out of the zone and then they go return. I think once I do that, and once I have a few hundred logistics bots, then I don't really care too much. A train is stuck, though. Oh. Didn't connect it. How do we fix this easily? Oh, also, trash stuff from Neobium. I don't want to forget about that. I think I'll just do what I did with the other one, because we just need to ditch 10k solvent. That feels bad to waste, but I guess it's fine. Because there's no easy way to just grab it in my inventory and then take it back. Yeah, so the construction zone extender is not really related to what I'm talking about, because what that would do is it would just give me the ability to connect networks without having orange zones in between them. Which is like, if I wanted, let's say I wanted all of this to be green only and not orange, then construction zone extenders can do that. So that way bots aren't trying to deliver stuff to me out here. So if that was my goal, that would be what construction zone extenders would do for me. But that's not my goal. Come on, empty out. Is it not gonna make it by like a few units? Oh my gosh, by 40 units. There, one pipe should do it. That's funny. All right. Now a train shouldn't be stuck anymore. Okay, so that's done. We need to load those into a trash, a byproduct. How do I do this? So for byproduct, stone, gravel, and sand, we're going to be wanting full train worths. So then the input warehouse needs to be able to hold at least a full train of all three at the same time. I'm going to put it here, and we'll just move this guy like that. Should also add like another signal over here or something, so that it doesn't have to go quite as far. All right, so what we're gonna do here is a big ol' warehouse. This is gonna be a provider station, a multi-provider station, and we want it to load quickly, so I'll double that up. And we need this to be way bigger. Ah, we're out of chests. So we'll do that. And then that doesn't work. And then what do we have to change? Nothing? This changes to 3. But it's a byproduct provider, so it is higher priority. Station priority 1. So things that are wanting stone, gravel, or sand will ask for them from this station before other stations. No, I've confused myself again. But how does that work when... So there's like 4 different scenarios with provide requests where it's like I have things that are provided, but I'm not requesting them yet. I'm lacking both, It's basically whether you're lacking or have either one. So there's 4 options. And I can never remember, because in this case, it's basically like I don't want to trash the things immediately. Sorry, my brain's broken. So there's 4 cases. How do I represent the 4 cases? I'll represent them. Let's think through this. So there's 4 cases. There's cases where I have what I'm providing. Sorry, that's requesting. I have what I'm providing, but the requesters are empty. And then there's the byproduct, which we'll put as storage. Those are like the trashers. There's cases where I have enough request but not provide. There's cases where I have neither, and there's cases where I have both. Okay, so in these cases, if I'm requesting lead plates and I don't have any, but I have a bunch in here, basically what we're doing is by having the trash chest, by going on channel 3, we're gonna have trashing stations that are on a lower priority. Yeah, this isn't gonna work. I just realized I have to do one different thing with trashing stations, which I think I did in my Angel Bob's Omni playthrough. I think we're gonna have to do it here. So here's the problem. With providing, the priorities work fine. You don't need to do anything else because providers just fill up as they get materials. And so if you're providing and only one station has what is being provided, then that will be the station that trains will come to grab from. If you're providing from multiple places, then the priorities just work as expected. You have enough steel in 2 different places, but you've got a higher priority to grab steel from station A. But requesting is different. Requesting with priority only cares when 2 things are hungry at the same time. And then the provider comes online, then the request priority matters. But it doesn't matter, like, most of the time. Because most of the time, like, as we're filling this up, like, basically, let me spell it out for you, because I don't feel like I'm being super clear. So on channel 3, we're providing to both normal requesters and trashing requesters. So the trashing requester is the yellow one here. In this, imagine these are train stations, right? So the yellow one is literally dumping things into the trash. Just imagine this is the trash over here. And this one is what we actually want. And these are being trashed. If we're providing on channel 3, as soon as we get enough plates in here, then they'll immediately go to the trash station. Oh, Dan Bopes, I'm so sorry. If we're not talking about chests, we're talking about trains right now. We're not talking about logistics bots. This is about trains and train stations and being on channel 1 and 3 and how that works with the station bit masking stuff. Also, speaking of bot priorities, just know that construction bots do not follow those priorities, only logistics bots. I've seen many players make that mistake. I've made that mistake. Anyway, so with trains, as soon as this fills up, then it's immediately gonna go get trashed. Because that's currently requesting, and so is this one. Or sorry, let's say this one isn't requesting. Then just this fills up, and then it goes to trash. And then this fills up, and then it goes to trash. But then this is not filled up, and now we want regular stuff, but now we don't have any of the trash stuff available. And so the problem is the provider needs to only be added to the trash network when it has a higher threshold of items. So that's really the rub here, is that you have to dynamically put the provider onto the trash network only when it has too much of something, because you actually want it to have some of the stuff at a high priority being provided, so that when you have a normal request for stone, it will request from the things that are byproducts first, but they'll only have things available if they haven't already sent it to be trashed. And the only way to do that is if you don't put them on the trashing network until they have more of it. There is no provide threshold at Turkey Pilgrim. That's one of the differences between LTN as well. And that wouldn't actually work because the provide threshold is set per station, so that wouldn't work in LTN either. You don't want to trash the entire network? I don't know exactly what you mean. It's fine to deliver to trash stations as soon as we cross that threshold, though. Because you're only going to get to that threshold if you really have too much stuff and you want to trash things. So I don't mind, because it'll still only create one train delivery at a time. And as soon as that train delivery is done, we're going to have less, and then it'll change the math. It's possible it sets up 2 in a row. But as long as a trashing station request is only 1 full train, it'll never send 2 trains in a row. So that should work fine. But I guess you're right that if we weren't providing on channel 2 and we were requesting, there were 5 different stone trashing stations that all are hungry for stone, and then all of a sudden this gets to 2 trainfuls of stone, and then we put it on channel 2, then 2 trains will come to pick that up at the same time. So it will kind of be like it fills up to level 2, it empties down to 0, and then it fills back up to 1, where it might give normal stations what they want. But if it ever fills up to 2, it drains all the way to the bottom. It's like the hungry siphon cup thing, you know, whatever it's called, the Archimedes cup. I don't remember. It's kind of like that idea. It's not perfect, but it'll work. Anyway, all that to say, we need to do a thing here that I hadn't expected. So this is going to have to interpret. This gets even messier with multiple products. I was really excited about multi-provider trashing stations, but now I'm thinking they might not be feasible because of this problem. Because I don't want, like, let's say we only have a few gravel in here. I don't want the gravel to be exposed to the trash network just because we want to trash stone, right? So I think because of that, we need these to be discrete stations, which is a little bit of a bummer. The other option is to just say, who cares? If no stations are hungry for stone right now, why not just trash the stone? No, that feels wasteful though. Because then as soon as a station does get hungry for stone, 2 minutes later, now it'll request stone from stone that I'm working hard to make, when 2 minutes ago I just sent a whole load of stone to the trash. So I don't like that. I don't like that. The only other way I can think of to do this would be to have some sort of like buffering station where we take stone that was being trashed and then we re-provide it onto the network, but that sounds like a worse solution, so I don't think I'm gonna go with that. Anyway, I don't know if any of this made sense to you guys or if that was about as clear as mud, but in essence, what I'm doing is we're just gonna have a separate trashing station for each resource. Hey, Gildarth, thank you so much for the Prime sub. And then we're gonna measure when that resource is above a certain threshold. Let's say, how many stacks would it be? Stone is 50, right? Doesn't even tell me right there. That's really weird. Is that the wrong stone? That was the wrong stone. I'm glad I see. That's just gonna. I'm gonna run into that so much. Anyway, if stone is greater than, let's see, 20, so let's say 40, 50 maybe is when we start trashing it. So if it's greater than 50 stacks, which is 50 times 50, so we add a 0, multiply it, 2,500. There we go. Then we output, oh, we can change the constant. It's so nice. It's so nice. We wouldn't have been able to do it this easily before. 4, no, A. So now, whenever stone is 2.5, oh, you're right, I could have just done math there. Okay, Rygaard, you know, I know this is probably not even your area, but you're here. The thing that I'm dying for in combinators is the ability to create our own parenthetical situation, because we can't do this or that, and all of that always requires the anding of this other thing. Like that, oh man, that's killing me sometimes, but anyway. All that to say, this is gonna work great. What did you say, Dave? What you've been doing is byproducts going to different stations than main products, and every byproduct provider sending to a radar. Oh. The problem with that, though, is the byproduct network, as you have more and more of them, can distribute that amount evenly amongst themselves. So that doesn't necessarily mean that you have a train load. You could have a fourth of a train load at 10 different stations, and it would look like you have 4 train loads. And then some of them might end up getting full. Oh, wait a second. Hold on. Wait, there might be another solution to this. I just remembered about another cybernetic combinator thing, a Cybersyn thing, which is which is just the stack. What was it? There was another we did this once. Yeah, no, it's on the station control, and if I input an item type into the station control, that's setting the request threshold for just that item type. But if it's a provider, then it will actually it will kind of generate a request to any stations that are wanting that item but haven't yet hit their request threshold, if that makes sense. So what we can do, instead of turning it onto the trash network, we should be able to have this always on channel 3 still, and instead we set a signal of stone. I'm breaking my brain again. Also, that's going to create, I was thinking on the trash stations, we could have a massive stack request that's like impossible to fulfill. Like I could request 80 stacks at the stone trashing station, and then a train wouldn't ever fulfill that because we don't have any trains that can carry 80 stacks. But then what I would do is I would have a decider combinator that would set this guy whenever stone is large enough. But I don't think this is going to work, unfortunately. But it could set the stone signal to then be... That's the wrong stone. Doesn't matter right now. The stone signal to be 1 train worth, which would only be 1,000. And then it would basically force a delivery of 1,000 train to somewhere that wants 1,000 train, 1,000 stone to somewhere. So you kind of can set a provide threshold. But the problem is requesting 80 stacks at the trashing stations is going to create constant problems too. Cybersyn intelligent enough to split 80 stacks into separate shipments. Well, no, not if 80 stacks is the request threshold. The request threshold is what you want per delivery. And if that's greater than 1 train, it doesn't work. The only way you can accomplish it, if you want it, I had a long chat with the Cybersyn devs about this. The only way you can actually accomplish that, if you wanted, for some reason, which, look, I think a mod creator is not to judge the players for what they want. Now, whether or not many players want it is a different question. Most players don't want this. But if for some reason you wanted not to deliver something until you had 4 trains worth of it, you would have to instead have a combinator that basically sets the request amount to be 0 until you need 4 trains worth, and then you set the request amount to be 4 trains worth of that request. And now it will go try to find 4 trains worth of stone. Anyway, that's a whole nother topic. So I think I'm back to my original solution here because this system isn't gonna work. Or maybe it... No, maybe it will. I don't know how this system works, though. We might have to test this. Like, what if I had... Okay, bear with me. We're 56 minutes into this episode. It might go a little bit longer. We might need to continue this test in a future episode, but because I'm really curious how this actually functions in a couple cases. Like, if I'm only requesting 500 stone somewhere, and then I'm trying to push out 1,000 stone, what's it gonna do in that case? Okay, so we're gonna need a couple things. Gonna need a couple things, all the things. All right, thing 1 is cyber combinator here and here. So let's say this chest has enough for... All right, so this is our stone provider. And let's get that hooked up to power. All right, so that's just a stone provider right now. Nothing fancy going on there. Okay, and then we got to get some stone. And then we throw that in the doodad. Okay, so now that's providing stone. Train-wise, let's get rid of whatever was going on here. Let me vacuum up that. So let's say this train was requesting... And it's on channel 3. The request threshold is, let's say, 500 stone. I'm gonna turn off locked slots here. And so that's good to go. And now when we do stone, let's just say 1,000. And give 1,000. Or 600, better number. All right, and then reverse these, so that fills up. And then we need some infinity chests to delete those items over time. Okay, so that's gonna request stone. This is providing stone eventually when I plug it in. Need another Cybersyn combinator. Okay. So A3, none of those should matter. Now, shouldn't it be complaining about not having a train at this point? It should be complaining, and it's not. I didn't, is this stack thresholds? It's not stack thresholds, so that should work. I guess I can look at my test surface. Train network. What's going on here? It is requesting 600. That is provided. Weird. I would have thought it would actually be casting an error. No train available to complete this delivery type error. I'm surprised it's not, actually. Yeah, something else is wrong. Thank you. No, that wasn't it either. Oh. Sorry, yeah, I don't know why I didn't do that. It's still not working, though. Yeah, it should have been complaining about not having a train, so I did something else wrong, but I don't know what. Pass the request threshold. I turned off allow limits, so I shouldn't even care about that. What is... Now what's going on? Because it even sees it. I'm actually kind of at a loss. I feel like I've set up a lot of these test situations and I've never had them just not run. What am I doing wrong here? That train... Are the trains, like, not connected? Is there a connection issue? Signaling issue? Don't think so. Train limits. Shouldn't be the problem. I'm kind of lost. Request. Threshold. That's hooked up. Time isn't paused. What's going on? Ah! Oh, you know what? It could be the curvedness of this rail. I wonder if that's it. You guys think that's it? The answer seems to be no, that was not it. That's in depot mode. Come on, Twitch. You guys are supposed to be smarter than me. Does the provider need an input to the constant combinator? It's the same signal. Shouldn't matter. Whether it goes from there or there. Because it sees it. We can see that that's being provided. They're both on network 3. I'm really lost on why this is not running. Do we need the I thought when allow lists were off, it would just work. So that shouldn't be the problem. That one had stack thresholds, but I don't think that actually matters on the provider. And that one's not stack thresholds. And it wouldn't show up as a red request if it wasn't requesting it. Oh, it's the wrong stone. This freaking signaling nonsense where the item isn't the item. It will be the death of me. I freaking swear. Oh my gosh. That's all it was the whole time. Okay, well, at least I'm not crazy. I was just, you know, not doing the thing. Okay, so anyway, back to what we're actually testing after that beautiful 10-minute debacle. What I actually wanted to test is if this... What's the best way? I might have to do it a couple times because I'm still not exactly sure if I even know what I'm testing. But basically, we want a trashing station somewhere. We'll say out here. That the trashing station, I'll just copy that. And then this is gonna all go loading. Or no, trashing. We unload the train. Okay, so anyway, this one is a requester, but the threshold is 1,000 because that's a full train. And that's just gonna have a request for, you know, 2,000 stone or whatever, 2 trains worth. So that one's always there. Now, if we have only 620 stone here, which is what we have, then the request is not being generated because that's not enough. So the stone is requested, but there's no train that's going to deliver it until we have enough. But if I wanted to get rid of a certain amount, oh, and this needs to be a higher priority. So this is where we do priority 1 on the normal station, and on the trashing station, first of all, this needs to be on channel 2 only. This is priority 0. So now the question is, if I do a force out, like based on priority, that's where we do station control, and I have a constant combinator. And we say we want to force trains to deliver as soon as they get to 1,000. We actually need it to be there. As soon as we get to 1,000 or 500 stone. I almost did it again. It's just because that's what it takes you to. And I just click on the first thing I see and it just ruins me. All right, 500 stone is now the provide amount, the new provide amount threshold for the station control here. And that's gonna make a delivery of 626 to the trashing station. That's what I was scared of. Because that was the only station that could grab all of it. I'm guessing now if I add 500, it will deliver to the higher priority station. Let's find out. I was afraid that's what it would do. I was hoping it would make a smaller delivery that would go to the one that was a higher priority, but instead it just delivered the full amount to the only place that could take the full amount, which was the trashing station, if that makes sense. I hope some of this has made sense. Stone, that is the correct stone. All right, so as that fills up, we should get some more information. Hey, thanks for the follow. Preschool. All right, so that's filling up. And what I think we'll see is as soon as it hits 500, it will go to the higher priority station. Okay, that is what happened. And then we need to see what happens the next time. For the next shipment, is it going to send... Let me make the request here a little bigger, like 1,000. Or maybe 900. Like, I want the request to be below its own threshold, but high enough that it could fit the 500. See there, it saw 510. That was being pushed out, so it went to the only place it could fit. I guess I need to change this request threshold too, then, to 1,000. Maybe that's what I'm looking for. Basically, I want to see if it's below threshold, will it still accept a shipment of stone? You've been binging the YouTube vids for a few weeks. Awesome! Congratulations on catching up just in time for the live stream. That's fun. Okay, now where's this 500 gonna go? It's not going anywhere. Okay. So, what's the point of provide thresholds then? If they don't force a delivery... I guess what it does is it forces a delivery, but only to stations that are already requesting something anyway. So it would force a less than full delivery to a place that maybe only wanted full trains normally. But it's not going to force into a place that's not requesting yet. So that actually is all the information I needed for what we're trying to figure out right now. That does answer my questions. Because I was hoping it would force deliver stone to a higher priority station, even though the request was below the threshold. That's not what it does. Unfortunately, I can't analyze right now whether that would be better behavior for the mod or not. I'm not saying that the mod should do anything different. I just was hoping maybe that's how it works. But there's probably a good reason why it doesn't work that way. So, all that to be said, a train has to be at its request threshold before it would ever allow a train to come in. But it could allow a train to come in with a less than full inventory if the threshold has already been met and you forced out a train somewhere else with that ingredient. But that's not going to happen as often. So, all that being said, well, there's sort of a provide threshold. That's what we're doing over here. When you set a signal, it basically says this is now the amount that I want to trigger a delivery, and if there's, and I've now learned that this is correctly how it works, if there are any stations that are currently hungry for this item, then we will send this 500 to that station. Now, the next question I have is, what if it's below the threshold in the first place? Well, then it would have already created a delivery for that amount. So never mind, that doesn't make sense. Like, I was like, what if there's a station that only wanted 400 Well, it's not going to deliver 500. Well, the hungry stations obey priorities, but only if they're hungry at the same time. And that's what this whole thing has been about for the last 20 minutes with trashing stations, is that if you have 2,000 or 1,000 stone, which is 20 stacks in here, the trashing stations are always hungry. That's the thing, right? They're always asking for stone. And so what you want is a system that isn't, it's going to reserve the stone for a little bit and see, do any of the normal stations need stone? I don't want to get rid of all my stone just yet. But then, if I am about to overflow on stone, then I'll send some to the trashing stations. And I don't think there's a way to do that without turning on channel 2, which then means we can't do the provider, the multi-provide situation. Because there's no way for us to say, only send stone that's above a certain amount to a certain channel. There's just no way to do that. Unless you could have... Can a station? Hold on. No, I doubt this would work, but what if you could set 2 different provider station combinators? There's one that's providing on one channel and another that's providing on another channel. And the one that's providing on channel 2 sees the station as having 20,000 less. Can you have? No, surely that doesn't work. Here, let me, I'm guessing this is not gonna work, but if it does, I'm gonna freak out, because it would be kind of cool. But like, what if I had this also as a provider? But this one is channel 1, and this one is channel 2. Does it see that as like 2 stations? No, it doesn't. Bummer. I was hoping it would. Like Goof and Boof would show up twice. I know that could make all sorts of problems, and it's good that it doesn't connect it to station. No, you don't connect the combinators to the stations in Cybersyn. It's nice. LTN requires you to do that, but Cybersyn doesn't. But yeah, unfortunately, this doesn't quite work. Now, again, it's probably for the best that it doesn't work that way. But if it could, then you could have 2 different stations. Now, what I could do is 2 different stations that use the same stone inventory. Now we're thinking with portals. I could literally just have 2 stations connected to the same warehouse. One of them is regular providing, and the other one is subtracting a full... The problem is if I have items with different stack sizes, which stone and gravel and soil do have different stack sizes, so that's a little bit of a bummer. But I'd have to subtract basically a full train's worth of each item from the warehouse before I'd give it to the other train. But I could do a multi-provide with just 2 stations, but any amount of ingredients. I could do 5 different items being provided and trashed as byproducts with 2 stations, 1 warehouse. And we just send the signal that's going to the trashing one. We reduce the signal first. Could I not read the contents of supply, send it over radar? Okay, so the problem with radars, guys, is that we want these all to be flexible in the sense that I could create them all in different places, I could byproduct them all in different places, I could trash them in different places, and I could request them in different places. And when you start trying to do all that with radars, there are some ways that you can make it work for sure, where, as long as you're only using signals to mean one thing in all systems. You could still multi-provide, but only send what needs to be overflowed. Set station to provide only, subtract out 1 million from the signals you don't want to provide to trash, subtract out what you don't want to trash. But see, the problem with that, Dan Bopes, is we want those things that aren't being trashed to be provided to the normal network. Like if I have a moss farm that wants a bunch of stone, we want it to be able to request from the byproduct stone, which means we need stone to be in the byproduct stone warehouses. Anyway, so I guess the final question after all of that, it was useful, because now the question is, do I want to, the two solutions are a separate station for each byproduct that is enabled only when it passes a certain threshold of that item to trash, or we have a multi-provider that has a separate train stop for the trashing side versus the other side, and we subtract out the amount we don't want to trash. I feel like the super trasher, even though it's weird, is the more elegant solution. I like the super trasher idea. I think I'm gonna go with it. So I'll probably have to finish making this in the next episode because we're already an hour and 20 minutes in, but, or I might even work on it a little bit between streams. But basically the super trasher is gonna look like the, uh-oh. Oh, okay, I guess I need one more, otherwise it doesn't line up properly. But yeah, the super trasher is gonna be something like this. You know what? I'm gonna do this just so bots will bring me more steel chests. Oh my gosh, this is one of my most harebrained ideas yet. However, it is gonna work. Harebrained is maybe the wrong word. At least I think it's gonna work. The only problem is if trains come to do two things at the same time. I'm a little concerned about doubling up. There is another... In the station control, there's manual inventory control. When managing multiple stations, when disabled, Cybersyn automatically adjusts... So this is what it normally does. It automatically adjusts station inventory to account for incoming trains. When disabled, you have to manually adjust the output to the cargo signal. So basically, if we do manual inventory control, which we should do, because the same warehouse is serving multiple trains, we need to add the output of this back into the input of that. And that way, if a train's coming to pick up stuff from here, it'll subtract what the train is coming to pick up from the signal that we're then going to be subtracting from to send to the trasher. So we'll never have like two trains coming to get the same thing. Where are my pybots? There they are. So yeah, this is gonna work. This just might work. No, it's not a might. I think it's a will. It's certainly a weird one, but it will work, I'm pretty sure. So I'll at least do this little basic setup part, and then we'll probably end the episode here. So these are both going to be very similar. We don't need the thresholds anymore. We build those, but this is channel 2 and this is channel 1. I don't need locked slots. Or do I? It's a multi-provider. I do need locked slots. And this is priority 0. No. Sorry, that's priority 1 because that's a byproduct. Now I've confused myself. These are one station. So the part of it that's providing the normal stuff is priority 1. The part of it that's trashing stuff is priority 0. It's so weird. And then the trash station will request stuff on low priority. Right. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, this could also be solved with bigger buffers. If I had bigger buffers on all of my request stations, we kind of wouldn't need to do any of this. I could just use priorities and it would work out eventually. Because it's like, eventually the stone thing is going to be hungry and a byproduct stone will pop up and it'll connect. But the problem is I'm greedy and I don't want to waste resources, so that I'm doing this instead of probably just relying on buffers to do what they need to do. So realistically, I probably could do a simpler solution than this. All right, so those are all one big 288 slot warehouse. These need to be filtered just like these ones. That's channel 2, this is channel 1. We need to do the station control, manual inventory control to the output of that and to the output of that. So when trains are coming, they subtract. Okay. And then the final thing that needs to be done is this. Wait, no, that's not what I wanted. Wait, what's connected here? Oh, the filters. That's the... Yeah, that's right. The output of the arithmetic is telling us what to filter here. And then finally, we need to subtract 1 train's worth of items before we pass it to this combinator. Or I don't think there's a way we can do an each here. Because we can't do like each that's greater than 20k or, you know, 2000 because, or 4000. Because again, that would require stack sizes to be the same. But it is beautiful. Well, no, because then I still have to subtract from it. I'd need to do it each minus 2000, which I can't do anyway. So I might just need a different combinator per item type. I think that's what we need. Yeah, this is a learning episode. Learning has occurred. But yeah, I think we just need to pass... Selector combinator can give you stack sizes. It's true. So there's probably... But then the problem is then we need to re-multiply. Why is that inactivity condition on? We need to re-multiply by the stack size. So we'd be dividing by stack size. Each that's greater than 40 stacks. And then re-multiplying by stack size. I guess if I'm gonna be byproducting a lot of items, that's still probably better. So you're not wrong about that. I probably should just do that. But this, I don't know. This might be like 5 or 6 combinators instead of 1 per item type, which might not be worth it. These are a lot of circuits. 5 decider combinators, and decider combinators are already 5 circuits. So that's like 30 circuits for a selector combinator? Sheesh. 30 circuits right there. Okay, so let's just think for a second. So this is outputting stack sizes of all the different things that are in there. Great. Then we want to take each times... No. We want red and green. So we take the actual amounts divided by the stack amounts, and that tells us how many stacks we have. And we output each. -1, or no, it rounds up. So if we had 101 divided by 50, it would call it 3 stacks. Right? Or does it round down? I can never remember if it rounds up or down when it does division. I think it just cuts off the decimal and it rounds down. So this is now telling us how many stacks we have. Then we need to multiply. No. We need to subtract a full train, maybe a train and a half. Like, I could set this to whatever I want it to be. For now, we'll say a train and a half will be always waiting in here. And then we output each. And then we need to re-multiply by the stack size again in order to then have the actual item number that's in the warehouse that I want to tell LTN I want to trash. And I can connect this red one again. Nope, not on that spot though. Or the red one again there. And this will again do each. Now it'll do each times each. But it'll be each on the green, because that's how many stacks we have of the green, times the stack size, which is what red is, now outputting on each, and that's what we tell this combinator we're holding. Look at the screen. Look at the screen, right? Just red and green wires everywhere, combinators everywhere, 2 stations and 1 warehouse. And yet, I'm proud of it. This is my magnum opus. This thing right here. Good gravy. I think it works. I think it's doing exactly what we want. And I can put however many byproducts I want in here of any type. And the only thing I need to make sure of is that I have trash stations out in the world that are requesting full trains of these things. And obviously I need the warehouse to be bigger if I have enough items, but wow, I think this is all correct. And the reason I like this design is I can use this combo station to get rid of 10 different byproducts. Like, we already have sodium hydroxide that we're gonna have to get rid of soon, which is stuck for some reason. I'm out of lamps. I'm out of lamps because I am out of iron. Okay, interesting. Anyway, but it's, yeah, we have sodium hydroxide that we can dump in here. We have other things that we'll probably want to dump in here. So that way I'm not having to add 5 different stations. I don't know if I like it or not, but it certainly is a thing. What I do want to do is probably scooch these over to be on this half of the equation. I think I want them to be lined up a little bit better. Yeah, picker dollies and just the new vanilla functionality, which maintains circuit connections with cut and paste. That's pretty huge too. Okay, so compared to what it's only 4 combinators. That's really not bad. And I guess it's a double station rather than a single station. So like it's acting like one station, but it's doing 2 things. So I guess that's slightly worse. I don't know. Train limit should be 2 on all these. We just make sure this part's right. Locked slots per wagon. Technically, that should increase with the number of item types. Because if I was requesting some gravel, some stone, and some sand, we would need locked slots for those. And we do need inactivity condition on multi-providers. Yeah, stack thresholds don't matter. I'll just leave it on because it's on everywhere else, but that doesn't matter. And I think with that, we will call it an episode. Wow, wow, wow. Let me know what you guys think in the comments about this design and what you would have done. I'm sure everyone has different answers. If you're loading with loaders, you do still need lock slots, yes, because there's still a delay between when it thinks it's full and when it actually, the last items get on the train. So there's always a few extra. It's not that many, but there's a few extra. Otherwise, you have items that will then get onto the next train that shouldn't be there. Which is a different strategy of removing those items from the next train and then putting them back in. That works too, but that's a different thing. Anyway, we're gonna call that an episode. As always, thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you think down in the comments, and I'll see you all in the next one.